giving me this opportunity to talk to all of you. It's a real honor to be here today. I consider myself lucky to be a woman of privilege, but I feel that with privilege comes responsibility. So I have chosen to devote my life to fighting for women and girls' rights. This choice was an easy one for me after the injustices I saw in a place where women are second-class citizens, mere possessions of men, and where girls are forcibly married off as young as 11 years old. How could I ignore a phrase I heard constantly while growing up, that for the woman there is either the home or the grave? I grew up in the Swat Valley, a rural part of northern Pakistan. Even though I belonged to a well-to-do family, I still did not escape discrimination. My own birth was received with tears of disappointment, while my brothers were celebrated with joy and dancing. While growing up, I would hear stories from women and children who came to seek justice from my grandfather, the Wali of Swat. Memories of those injustices haunt me till this day. A mere 7-year-old whose father married her off to an 8-year-old man. A girl of 12 whose nose was cut off in the middle of the night by her fiancé because her father broke her engagement. A widow left childless when her 8-year-old son was beheaded by his uncles just so they could inherit his property. These stories shaped my life and the work that I do today, and are the basis upon which I started my organization, Swat Relief Initiative, or SRI. This was the time when the Taliban had taken over the Swat Valley in 2009, and militants destroyed more than 400 schools which had been painstakingly built by my grandfather, who's pictured here with Queen Elizabeth during her visit to Swat. My grandfather started thousands of schools for the children of Swat because he strongly believed in education. The thinking of the Taliban was diametrically opposed to that of my grandfather and to the teachings of Islam. These militants believed that girls should not be allowed to go to school and that they should be forcibly prevented from getting an education. My way to fight the Taliban was to start an organization that would alleviate the immense suffering that women and children faced by using a holistic approach to philanthropy in 5 key areas: community outreach, education, healthcare, women's economic empowerment, and clean water. Today, I will briefly touch on some of our programs in order to show you how they impact the lives of women and children in communities that we serve. SRI's preventive healthcare program serves almost 30,000 people. This is Fatiha, one of SRI's community health workers. Fatiha is 38. She has 3 children and is the sole earner of her family. Fatiha's day starts with getting her children ready for school. Then come her career responsibilities, going door to door, 6 days a week to make health visits to patients who do not have the means to go to a hospital or a doctor. She examines pregnant and lactating mothers, as well as infants and children, in order to take care of any health issues they may have. Malnutrition is a big problem in the area, so Fatiha's advice about good nutrition, disease prevention, and family planning is an essential lifeline for these poor people who depend on her to stay healthy. Fatiha also dispenses vaccinations, medicines, and supplements to mothers and children. Her job entails walking over 5 miles over hilly terrain every day. On top of all this, she has to contend with verbal abuse from families not wanting to hear about family planning or getting their children vaccinated. She's also vulnerable to attacks from religious extremists who accuse her of loose morals because she works outside the home. All this does not deter Fatiha, as she is on a mission to improve the health of women and children of her village. Due to the diligence and hard work of SRI's community health workers like Fatiha, we have reduced infant mortality by 50% and completely eliminated maternal mortality in our program area within a period of 9 years. SRI's vocational training centers are also empowering women by giving them economic independence through the acquisitions of different kinds of skills. Tahira is one of the beneficiaries of our economic development program. She was married at the age of 12, widowed at 22, and has 4 daughters to support. Because she didn't have any sons, Tahira and her daughters could not inherit any of her husband's property and were badly mistreated by her in-laws. Through our community outreach initiative, Tahira joined our vocational training center, where she learned sewing and basic literacy. This helped her to start her own business, enabling her to earn enough to lead an independent life and to support her daughters. SRI's vocational training centers have trained more than 1,500 women who, like Tahira, are improving their lives and changing how women are viewed in rural communities. Since 2015, SRI has put 7,000 children and adults on the path to a better life through education. In this slide, you can see some examples of SRI's school projects. Saima is a student in one of our schools. She wrote me a letter, which I would like to share with you. She writes, "I have 4 brothers and 7 sisters. I belong to Salampur, a village in the mountains of Swat. In my village, there's a free primary, middle, and high school for boys, but for girls, only 1 primary school. In 2014, I passed 5th grade. I was very happy to get first position in my class, but was more sad than happy because I was thinking, what will be my education future now? The nearest free government middle school was 15 kilometers from my village, and my father did not have money to pay for transport charges. I was so sad that sometimes I wept. One day, we found out that the government had launched a scheme in which they would pay tuition for poor students in private schools. My joy knew no bounds. I told my father to quickly admit me to a private school of the village and felt really good going to school again. I restarted to dream about a bright and prosperous future. I worked so hard. After a few months, the principal came to the class and told us, the scheme of the government has been cancelled, and if we want to continue our studies, we would have to pay monthly fees. Since we were poor, unwillingly I left school. I was so hurt that I burnt all my books. I started to feel hate for myself and for my poverty. I believed that we poor people are born only for serving rich people, and we do not have the right to get an education. One day in June 2014, I was cleaning the cowshed when suddenly someone knocked at the door and asked for my father. After some time, father came back and told me that SRI is going to open a free school for poor students up to 12th grade. I smiled at father and told him that this will also be a scheme like the government's, and they will leave us after some months, so I do not want to take admission there. But my father insisted, as he told me that this organization was started by the granddaughter of the Wali of Swat, whose family has always served the people. So we have great trust in them, and they will not leave us behind. I agreed and took admission in the school. I started to feel my dull hopes becoming bright again. I'm now a science student in 10th grade. I'm 100% sure that if SRI did not start a free school, I would have married a long time ago. Perhaps I would be a mother of 1 or 2 kids, because here the poor girls have no future. The only future for them is early marriage. SRI saved me and the other 130 girls now studying in our school. SRI gives us support for the future we wished for. SRI not only educates us, but protects our rights too. Anyone can see the changes in my village through their efforts. The letter is signed, Saima, student of SRI Model School for Girls. Saima's story shows that many girls go through these difficulties, and Saima is actually one of the lucky ones, as her dream to get an education came true. Think of the thousands of girls, or rather hundreds of thousands of girls, who do not have the opportunity to study and instead become victims of child marriages, forced to bear the burden of motherhood as early as 13 years old. When my husband Arshad and I started Swat Relief Initiative, our purpose for this organization was twofold. Our first priority, of course, was to help women and children achieve a better quality of life. But the second reason was to create an honest and workable platform for all dedicated philanthropists to come together and to do charity in an honest and sustainable manner. Because of our commitment to philanthropy, Arshad and I, as founders of this charity, pay for the overhead of the organization with our personal funds in order to enable SRI to give 100% of all donations directly to the programs for women and children. As board members, we also spend 3 to 4 months of the year in Pakistan to make sure that we are fulfilling our core commitments and following our zero tolerance for corruption policy. Our success in impacting women and girls through education and economic empowerment in the Swat Valley has led me to believe that we can replicate this program throughout Pakistan, but only if motivated organizations like yours can help us through collaborative partnerships. I would like to end by showing you how uplifting others is really an investment in one's own character and peace of mind. Knowing women like Tahira and Saima and what they've been through has been a life-changing experience for me. Knowing I'm helping them has made my life complete and more meaningful. I have felt my voice becoming stronger, knowing I'm speaking on behalf of those who have no voice. For me, helping others is the best form of worship, as it has brought me much closer to my Creator. Thank you. Thank you for listening to my story.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما الله أكبر والله أكبر الله أكبر والله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله هيا على الصلاة حي على الصلاة